6 project, a project that was started upon request of parents, is sponsored by parents and conducted together with parents in order to improve quality of life of individuals with a chromosome 6 disorder and their families. This first webinar has been organized to announce the launch of this International Chromosome 6 Foundation by parents. You will learn more about that foundation during this webinar. Furthermore, we will introduce you the Chromosome 6 project, and we will give a global overview of what we have been doing, what we are currently working on, and what we intend to do in the near future. This really is a project by and for parents. As mentioned, you can ask general questions in the chat, and we will try to keep an eye on them. Directly after the webinar, we will move to another private Teams channel where we will answer questions of parents who have received a separate link via Pauline. The aim of the Chromosome 6 webinar series is threefold. First, we want to inform you, the parents and other people interested in the care for individuals with a chromosome disorder. Secondly, we want to create awareness for this group of often ultra-rare diseases for which still, notwithstanding all new developments and technologies in genetics, hardly any information is available on what to expect clinically, and also not how surveillance can best be organized. Thirdly, we want to invite you to actively take part in this project. We need your support. We need your help to collect more information to make our interactive information system more robust, informative, and reliable. We need your feedback on how things can be made better in the Chromosome 6 project for you parents. We need to know how we can improve your participation and how we best present the automatically generated information that our system will provide to you. Lastly, but vital, we need your help for financial support in order to further develop our system and secure its future existence. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Mary to you. Mary is a mother who is willing to tell her story, share her story with us, and explain to us why this project is so important for her.
Hi, I'm Mary Winterton. My daughter is Anna, and she is now 17 years old. And why this research is so important to me is when Anna was born, I noticed she wasn't meeting her milestones. Every time I spoke to the doctors, the GP, whatnot, they're like, oh, well, she'll catch up. She'll catch up just the way she is. You know, that's just the way she is. Well, 2 years on, she's not eating. She's gagging at food. She's not moving. She's not sitting up on her own. And actually, she was probably 15 months old when we finally spoke to a consultant who says, well, let's take a genetics test because her head growth isn't, not like a typical child growth. Her growth is very, very low. So they did the genetics test, and that's when we discovered she's chromosome 6q 25.3 to a quarter deletion. Me, that was all foreign. I'm like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, we can't tell you much. I mean, we did meet with the geneticist, but at that time, there wasn't much information. They only could tell me that she'll be delayed. Maybe she'll walk, maybe she won't. Maybe she'll talk, maybe she won't. I'm like, well, maybe you should just get some intervention going on, some therapy, and see what happens. I'm like, well, that's not good enough for me because I became really worried because she wasn't eating. Nobody could tell me why. And then as we went into services like physical therapy, occupational therapy, okay, so she was making some progress because she was being taught. What we noticed that everything has to be taught and nothing comes naturally to my daughter. So I did a lot of Googling research on my own because, again, the geneticist says, well, just wait and see. And there's not much information out there. We can't tell you much. I'm like, oh, my gosh. So I found a group of it wasn't Facebook at that time. It was on Yahoo. Marie Montre, I don't know if she's on here or not, but she founded the original Chromosome 6 family support group. And at that time when I joined, I think there was maybe only 70 families at that time. And as people were researching their children's chromosome deletion, they've noted this Yahoo group. And so slowly the families have been expanding until another mom set it up on Facebook and, it had more coverage, so to speak. So To me, the research is very important because it's an awareness. We could Google it, and Dr. Connie's doing this research with her team, and we know more information because we're getting parents involved out there answering questionnaires. Now we know, okay, the child might have, feeding issues or, issues with walking, talking. It's all part of this chromosome deletion. It helps us to bring it forth to the GPs, the consultants, and say, listen, this is why it's happening. Can we manage this? Yes, we can. It's more of a information finding. Research is so important, and awareness is so important. Otherwise, we just get shoved aside. And if we have something that says, look, this is what it is, we need help. We need to manage their health. We can't just blow them off and see what happens. We need the guidance we need. So, I mean, that's my story. And I know there's many others who have so much more to feed, the feedback and the input. But needless to say, the support group has helped. Meeting Dr. Connie in Chicago. I don't know if you remember me or not, but it's been a while. It was an eye opener. I took that back to my family, and, now family are more, I'm like, oh, wow, in tune to what we're going through and what chromosome 6 research is all about. So the more people are aware, the better it is, the more we can get funding for research. That's the extent of it for me.
Thank you very much, Mary. I think that you clearly phrased the voice of many parents. This is what motivates us researchers to continue the work, even when it's a struggle to get funded. So thank you for sharing this with us. Now we can move on. Our next item in this webinar is the introduction of the Chromosome 6 project group, and I will start introducing myself. So my name is Cornie van Ravenswaay. I'm a clinical geneticist specialized in rare chromosome disorders, and I'm located in Groningen, the Netherlands. On the left side of the slide, you see a map of Europe. The Netherlands is a tiny country in the west, next to Germany. Okay, thank you, Elia, for pointing it out. On the right side, you see a map of the Netherlands. And I was born and raised in the south, studied medicine at the University of Leiden in the west, and did my PhD at the University of Nijmegen in the east of Netherlands. And after that, I was trained as a clinical geneticist in Nijmegen and stayed there as a consultant till 2006, when I moved to Groningen in the north. So I've seen all the parts of the country. I was trained with a special interest in chromosome disorders. So whenever a diagnosis of a chromosome disorder was made in a child, I explained to parents what was found, how that could have happened, and what was known about the clinical consequences. Very often I was like the consultant of Mary. I had to tell them that there hardly was any information in literature and that most patients were only described at a young age, so nothing was known about their development. And then I referred the parents and the child back to the pediatrician. That didn't feel right. So I started a follow-up clinic for rare chromosome disorders in order to learn more about them and hopefully being able to tell more to new parents. When I moved to Groningen, the clinic also moved and soon became part of the Groningen Center of Expertise for Rare Neurodevelopmental Disorders, coordinated by myself and officially recognized by the European Union as a center of expertise specifically for Chart syndrome, Phelan-McDermid syndrome, and chromosome 6 disorders. Why chromosome 6? Why not chromosome 12 or 10 or 1? Well, because of Pauline, the mother of Roland. She came to my clinic and she asked me whether I was interested to do research together with a Facebook group. And she explained me about this Facebook group. And then I said yes. So soon thereafter, the Chromosome 6 project was born. You will hear more about that soon. But first, I want to highlight another personal aspect of myself. I love to do long distance walks, and in 2019 I walked 1200 km along the pilgrim's route to Santiago de Compostela in Spain. While doing so, I raised awareness and money for the Chromosome 6 project. And here you see Aafke, who hands over a check to me shortly after my return. It was almost 12,000 euros. However, more money came in after broadcasting this, resulting in a total of 18,000 euros. And with this nice picture, I wanted to hand over the microphone to Aafke. However, unfortunately, she's ill. So I will tell you a bit about her. In 2015, I gave a lecture on doing research in genetics to medical students. Directly after that lecture, Aafke came to me, introduced herself, and said she wanted to do research in my group. So she did a pilot project on a specific group of chromosome 6 deletions. In 2016, she was allowed to do a second pilot project and extended her studies in the same group of patients. In the same year, she was granted a research internship in which she could study chromosome 6 deletions that include the TBX18 gene. And with these 3 small projects, she was able to apply for a PhD position and managed to get it. She wrote a study proposal entitled Unraveling the Effects of Chromosome 6q deletions with the Help of Social Media. The proposal was accepted, and recently Aafke finished her thesis that consists of an amazing number of 8 scientific publications. 7 have already been published, and the last one is in preparation. In January 2024, Aafke will defend her thesis that has slightly been renamed into the Chromosome 6 Project, a proof of concept for using parent-reported phenotypes to unravel the phenotypic spectrum of chromosome aberrations. So emphasizing that this is a parent-driven project. Let's all wish Aafke good luck with her thesis defense. Next in line is Eliana. Eliana, the floor is yours.
So thank you very much, Connie. It is great to see how many of you joined today's webinar. My name is Elana Raku, and I'm a researcher within the Chromosome 6 project, and I am currently doing my PhD within the project. I will also start by saying something about myself first. On the right, you see a map of Europe, but this time with 3 countries colored in, and these are Greece, Albania, and the Netherlands. I was born in Athens in Greece, where I lived until I was around 7. And after that, me and my family moved to the small country of Albania, which is right next to it, where I lived until I was 18. And after that, I moved to the Netherlands to study medicine in 2014. And I was introduced to the Chromosome 6 project in 2020 when I was looking for a project to do my master thesis in. And I believe some of you might have seen this update on the website about 5 medical students that would study deletions on 3 regions of chromosome 6 as part of their master thesis. And I was one of these students, and I was focusing on the health-related effects of 6q16 deletions. And I was immediately fascinated by the project and the work of the research team, so I decided to stay involved after my thesis and work as a student researcher, and later also apply for an MD PhD scholarship so that I could combine the last part of my medical studies with a PhD within the Chromosome 6 project. The work I did as a student researcher was on the health-related characteristics of 6p25 deletions, which resulted in a scientific article that got published in March this year, and a summary of this article will be posted on our website soon. In July 2021, the MD PhD scholarship was granted, which means that I could combine the last part of my medical studies, which I finished in 2021, with a PhD within the Chromosome 6 project. And since 2022, I started working full-time as a researcher within the project. Now, there are many reasons why I decided to stay involved in the project, and here I have listed some of them. Firstly, I find rare chromosome aberrations, including those of chromosome 6, fascinating. Each aberration and each child is as unique as it gets. And what is also unique within the Chromosome 6 project is the fact that it focuses on empowering parents and families, which is not something that you see in other studies. Also, I find the enthusiasm and the passion of the research team and the parent community really inspiring. This is a headline in our university newspaper about Professor Connie's work, and this is not the kind of headline you see every day. As some of you might know, I am currently also answering the emails we get in our mailbox. I believe I have spoken to some of you, and this is something that I really, really like about the project, being in contact with parents either via email or these webinars, and providing information or helping out whenever needed. And as I say that, I am very aware there are some unanswered emails in our mailbox, but I will get to that as soon as I can this week. Next to managing the mailbox and doing my research, my tasks include a lot of other things like managing the database or updating our website. So technically it does not get boring. Yeah, and with this, I would like to give the word back to Professor Connie.
Thank you, Eliana. I think many of the attendants already have contact with you, and it's so nice that they now have a face to your name. Our team, of course, is bigger than the three of us. Most of the people that you see on this slide more or less contribute to the project, either maybe 1 hour a week or a few hours per week, but they're all helping us out. And most of them are doing that as a voluntary. Some of them you may need in future webinars. But a very special person who needs attention is Tyler Medina, depicted in the circle. Tyler is a bioinformatician who was born in California, moved to Ireland, and later came for his studies to our university in Groningen. When I asked the head of the bioinformatics department for help developing an analysis system for the Chromosome 6 project, he assigned Tyler to the project. Unfortunately, Tyler decided to move back to Ireland for his PhD studies half a year later. However, he liked the project very much and realized how important it is for parents. Therefore, he still voluntarily works on developing the system in his spare time. We have regular online meetings with him very early in the morning before he goes to his work in Dublin. And now, as Eliana will explain to you later, the system is almost ready. So we are extremely thankful to Tyler for his dedication to the project. Now onto the project itself. What is our aim? What have we done already? And what are we working on now? The aim of the project is to have more information available for families on the effects of chromosome 6 aberrations on health and development. And we hope that by having more information on natural history and comorbidities of these extremely rare disorders, that we can empower families and maybe also their doctors, because if doctors have more information, they also feel more secure in how to survey a patient. So in this way, we may improve surveillance of the individuals with a rare chromosome 6 disorder. And by doing so, we may improve quality of life of these individuals and their families. This really is a study initiated by and performed with parents. We recruit patients via social media and then collect the information directly for parents using an extensive questionnaire. You may all have seen it. Many questions are asked in that questionnaire, and it's valuable information for our project. We use microarray reports, so the reports of the chromosome aberrations that parents upload via a secure web environment. And we can use this microarray reports because the information in that is very reliable. We're working on a very sophisticated automatic analysis so that we can analyze the data that we collect from you, the parents. And the more information comes in the database, the more accurate this analysis becomes. Our final goal is to develop an interactive web page where parents can obtain a phenotype description that is specific for their child's deletion, or in the future also duplication. So when you enter the exact aberration that is found in your child, the system will give you information based on individuals in the database with a similar deletion or duplication. Now, let me explain a little bit of the history of the project to you. In 2012, I already mentioned it, Pauline visited me and asked me to start this project. In 2013, we started collecting information from parents about their children using a paper questionnaire. That questionnaire was only in English and Dutch available. But with that information, we were able to write a grant proposal for a Dutch funding company, it's on MW, and they gave us money to develop an online questionnaire in 7 languages and a database. And since that time, the number of parents that participate in a project has steadily grown. And you can see it in the chart. So starting somewhere in the beginning of the project, and then on the very recent numbers, you see that we have now almost 300 participants. That is the purple line. You also see a green line, and that is the number of fully completed questionnaires that have been submitted. So that means that not every parent that takes part in the project has submitted the questionnaire yet. There is some backlog. And we can understand that because it's a very elaborate questionnaire with many questions. And of course, having a child with special needs means that you have less time to do so. But whenever you have problems filling out a questionnaire or re-entering the website or getting it, losing your account, or whatever happens, please contact us. We're very willing to help you because it's so important for us to have all these questionnaires completed. Again, I can't repeat it enough. The more information we have in the database, the better the information will be that we can give to parents. In the next few slides, I will show you the papers that we have been able to publish thus far with your help. I won't go into details. This is just to give you an overview. In future seminars, we will explain in more detail what the results of all our studies have been and what it means for you and your children. The first paper I'm showing you is about the terminal 6p deletions. That are the deletions on top of chromosome 6. On the right-hand side, you see this schematic drawing of the chromosome, and the purple box indicates the part of the chromosome that this paper is about. And we could describe 59 individuals who had the deletion in this part of the chromosome. And so we could describe the clinical problems that these children encounter, like, for instance, eye abnormalities with vision problems, brain malformations, congenital heart defects, hearing impairment, eye movement abnormalities, low missile tone, and developmental delay. The next paper is another region of the chromosome. You see the box moved down, so that's what we call proximal 6q. That's in the long arm of chromosome 6. And that's more rare, but we could describe 45 individuals, and that's an extremely high number for this part of the chromosome because it really is very high, very rare, the deletions in this part. And we also found out that if you look at this box and you see the lower half of the box, so that the bands Q14, Q15, if these bands are missing, the phenotype is more severe than when the more upper bands are missing. So if the deletion extends to region 14 and 15, then you see more often reflux, trichomalacia, heart defects, brain abnormalities, epilepsy, vision, respiratory problems. So they are more predominant in these deletions in the bands Q14 and Q15. So the next part is a very tiny bit of the chromosome 6 where the FA7 gene is deleted. And we did a study together with colleagues in France. We could collect 12 individuals with the deletion of this gene, and we could describe the phenotype with having microcephaly, so small head size, speech delay, low muscle tone, sleep problems, eye abnormalities, and heart defects. Again, a very rare disorder, and never had so many patients in one paper being described. Next slide is, again, we move down. This is a region where the gene TAP2 is located. And this is very interesting because if you have a deletion of this gene, of TAP2, then you have a very recognizable phenotype. We have seen pictures of children with a TAP2 deletion. We thought this must be the same child, or this must be sisters. They look so much alike. So this is very typical. This gene is very important in the clinical features of a child. So if this is deleted, it's recognizable. What do we see in this syndrome? Heart defects, abnormalities of the heart valves, but also of the heart muscle, what's called cardiomyopathy, short stature, and hyperlaxity of the joints. But also this very typical face. They're very beautiful children, but they are recognizable. Next, this is the last example I want to show you. This is the lower part of the chromosome, so the terminal part of the long arm of the chromosome, of chromosome 6q. And that is a large group with over 100 individuals have collected and could be described with the phenotype of. And what we will see in these children, they have a small head size, often have wide-spaced eyes, vision problems, tooth abnormalities, feeding problems, infections, spinal cord abnormalities, and abnormal vertebrae. And because of the abnormal vertebrae, often is scoliosis, so an abnormal curvature of the spine, joint hypermobility, brain abnormalities, epilepsies, low muscle tone, balance problems, developmental delay, sleeping problems, and hyperactivity. So it's a very broad clinical picture, and it's important to know that all this can happen in your child, but remember, every child is unique, so you never see all features in each child. You always see a set of features, but knowing that, for instance, recurrent infections can occur or epilepsy can occur, you can be more aware of that, and when needed, start medication as soon as these problems occur. Next slide. This is a really very important paper. Reviewers of our papers often asked us whether the information collected from parents was reliable enough for research. So whether you parents were able to give us correct information that we could rely on to do our research in a good qualitative way. And we proved in this paper that yes, indeed, it is reliable. We compared what parents filled out in the questionnaire to what we found in the medical files of the patients, and it was very good comparable. So this is very important. So our main conclusion of the paper was that we can encourage active parent participation in rare disease research. And we have shown that parent-reported phenotypes, so parent-reported clinical information is reliable and can contribute to our knowledge of the phenotypic spectrum of rare chromosomal disorders. So this is very important because we proved that you parents can do the job. And it's very, very good to involve you into medical research. The papers that I've shown you contain important information for the doctors of your child. However, this information should also be accessible to you. Therefore, you can find lay summaries on our website, even on studies of parts of chromosome 6 that we have not published yet. You see here two examples about the Q2324 deletions and the P24, P22 deletions. We have not published it yet, but on the website you can already find some information of these studies. Another source of information are the chromosome disorder leaflets of the International Parent Support Organization, UNIQ. I think you're all aware of the organization UNIQ. The website is raregromo.org, so you can have a look at there. And there have many leaflets for different chromosome aberrations. And all leaflets on chromosome 6 aberrations are reviewed by us. We give information to UNIQ to improve their leaflets, and we reread the information to check whether everything is correct. So there's a very nice collaboration between UNIQ and our project. Now, how can we further improve our information for families? What we really want is that this information is easy accessible for you. We also want it to be very patient specific, or if you want, deletion specific. So we want to give out information that really applies to your child and not to a whole bunch of children that have a deletion that's a little bit similar to yours. No, it must be really comparable to yours, because otherwise we're telling you rubbish and we don't want it. We want the information to be very reliable. We also want it to be up to date. So as soon as new information comes into the database, we want you to be able to make use of that, to see that new information. And we want to include information that you hardly can find in literature. For instance, what is the age at children arrive at certain milestones? What is the age that they learn to walk or to speak two word sentences, for instance? We also want to have more information on behavior and on late onset problems, so problems that occur, for instance, in adulthood. How we are all going to achieve this, that will be explained to you by Eliana.
Yes. Thank you, Connie, for the overview of our achievements thus far. And I will now continue with the main projects that we are currently working on. And as Professor Connie already mentioned, our ultimate goal is to provide you, the parents of children with a chromosome 6 aberration, with information about any health-related problems, developmental, behavioral characteristics that might be associated with your child's specific chromosome 6 aberration, and to do that via an interactive web page. So what we want is that you will be able to go on our webpage to enter your child's specific chromosome 6 aberration. So in case of a deletion, you can say my child misses from A to B, and the website will then give you a list of health issues or characteristics that are seen in children with a similar chromosome 6 aberration that are in our database. Now, you'll notice that I say similar aberration, and by that I mean deletions or duplications that have approximately the same size and location as the one you enter on the website. Because as we know, every chromosome 6 aberration is unique, so there will not be any other children in our database with the exact same deletion or duplication unless a parent is also included in our database. Now, in order to achieve this system, we have been working closely with our bioinformatics department, as Professor Connie already mentioned, to develop a smart analysis tool that will recognize similar aberrations first, And then we'll use the information of children that have these similar aberrations to create this list. This analysis tool is already developed, and in the past 2 years, we have been trying to answer a very important question. And that question is, when is another chromosome 6 aberration similar enough in order to use the characteristics of one individual to predict the characteristics of another? Now, let me give you an example. Now, in this picture, you can see chromosome 6 at the top, and these bars are deletions. So each bar represents the deletion of one child. These light blue vertical bars here represent important genes that are included in this region. And let's assume now that I want to know what kind of medical issues I can expect in the child with this specific deletion right here. You can see that there are no other deletions that are exactly the same, but there are some that are almost the same, so quite similar. These, for example, 7 individuals have quite similar deletions with the one I am interested in, and they all miss this important gene and this important gene, so same with the deletion I am interested in. So what I could do is use the clinical information from these 7 individuals, and then I will get a list of features similar to this one. In that case, you can see that not all features are present in all children. Of course, we would not expect that, but some of them are also present in very few of them. And you will also notice that the group is quite small. There are also only 7 individuals. And the question is the information from these 7 children with overlapping deletions enough? Especially because some of the features are only seen in 1 or 2. We also have to keep in mind that every child is unique, and they might have medical problems that are not related to the chromosome 6 aberration. Now, what we could also do is also take into consideration these 5 children, so make the group a little bit smaller, even though these 5 deletions are slightly larger, so the overlap is a bit less. And in that case, we would get this list, and here you can see that these features are seen in even more children. But then you can ask, are the deletions from these 5 extra individuals here similar enough to also include them in our prediction? And this is exactly what we are trying to answer right now. We are trying to find a balance between overlap of deletions and group size. The larger the group of children with a similar aberration, the more reliable the information on the website will be. How do we get more larger groups? By collecting more data. The more chromosome 6 participants we have, the more data on in the database, the more reliable the information on the website will be. So how do we get more data again? With your help. And here I would really like to take a moment and ask you that if you have not signed up for the Chromosome 6 project and you think you are eligible, which means your child or yourself have a chromosome 6 deletion or ET application, you can sign up via our website by uploading the array report or the genetic report where the deletion or the application is described. And then we will review the genetic report and we will send you an account through which you can access your personal chromosome 6 questionnaire. And if you do have an account, but you have not submitted the questionnaire yet, you can still fill it in by logging in on our website, filling in the rest of the questions, and then clicking submit at the end. And this is a very important step because we can only use information from submitted chromosome 6 questionnaires to generate the information on the web page once that is available. If you have any questions about logging in or about your Chromosome 6 account or anything else, you can, of course, send us an email at this email address, and this address will keep coming back through during the presentation. Now, next to providing information that is accurate on the website, we also want to make sure that it is relevant to you. We want to give information that parents would like to have, but without being overwhelming. And what do I exactly mean by this? Now, as I said, the clinical information on the website will be based on the information we collect via the Chromosome 6 questionnaire. And this questionnaire is very detailed. Via this questionnaire, we collect information on around 700 medical problems, developmental and behavioral issues. For each individual in our database, we have this much information. And this means that if we report every single feature that is seen in individuals with a similar chromosome 6 aberration and that as that of your child, there will be a very long list of features on the website. Let me give you some examples. Now, a clinical description that is based on 5 children, which is our minimum group size, will consist of approximately 54 features on average, and average means there will be groups with less features and with more features. In a group that consists of 15 individuals, and this is our most common group size, so most groups have around 15 individuals, and in this case, our list of features will be around 90. And for our maximum group size, which is 40, we would then get more than 200 feature per deletion, which is quite a lot of information. So then the question is, should we go ahead and report all these features, or should we limit the information we present? And if we were to limit the information, where do we draw the line? Does it matter what kind of feature it is? Are certain features or issues more important than others? Or is it more important in how many children that issue is seen? Of course, in the same time, we need to make sure that important information is not missed. Now, these questions, let's go one more. These questions need to be answered before we start building the website. And of course, who better to help us answer them than parents? In January this year, we posted an update on our website and our social media looking for parents who are interested in joining our expert panel in order to help us decide on the kind and on the amount of information we are going to present on the interactive web page. We were very happy to see that a lot of parents reached out and were willing to be part of this panel. So together with 32 chromosome 6 parents and 21 professionals, these are professionals who have experience in rare chromosome disorders from different fields. So together with this expert panel, we are looking into how and when we should present medical features on the website in a way that is informative and helpful. So how exactly are these experts helping us? Now, by filling out a number of surveys. In May this year, we sent a general survey with questions on what parents and professionals find important when accessing medical information online. For example, is the impact that an issue has on the child's health more important than how often a feature is seen in children with a similar aberration? And this sort of questions. And this was a very detailed survey. So we learned a lot from their answers, and we are very grateful to everyone who filled it in. After that, in September, we created a number of statements based on the information we received in the first survey. And we sent out a second survey with these statements. And experts were asked to say whether they agreed, disagreed, or were unsure with these statements. And these statements also involved around when you report certain clinical features on the website. This second survey, so the survey with the statements, is repeated 2 more times. We are right now in the 3rd round, and the goal is to reach agreement among most experts with the statements that we have presented. And the outcome of this study will be used, of course, to build the website, and will also be published in a scientific paper. So we are very close to reaching our goal. Back to you, Connie.
Thank you very much, Eliana. I keep an eye on the chat whether there are any questions for you. No, there are no questions for you. We hope that we gave you a good overview of the work we are doing. In the coming webinars, we will give you more details about the project and its results. But now it's first time to introduce the International Chromosome 6 Foundation to you. In order to better support us, 3 Dutch parents founded the International Chromosome 6 Foundation, initiated by Pauline, who you see in the upper picture together with Roeland. She and the other 2 parents will introduce themselves to you. However, since it is an international foundation, parents from other countries are needed to take part as well. If you are interested, you can email the foundation using the email address on this slide, and that you want to become a member of the foundation's advisory board. That's very important to have other countries as well in this foundation. And now I'll give the floor to Kristen and Pauline, Kristen and Saskia.
Good evening, and let me introduce myself. I am Pauline Bouwman. Mother of Roland. Roland has a chromosome 6 deletion. It's a deletion 6q25.1 until 25.3. That's one of the many changes that can occur on chromosome 6. Roland is 18 years old now, and when he was born in 2005, almost nothing was known about his chromosome change. We didn't know what the future would bring. With the help and support of other parents around the world, and with the help of the Chromosome 6 project at the University Medical Center Groningen from 2013, we are well on our way to learn more about this large group of very rare changes. I'm very grateful for all the contacts that I and other Chromosome 6 parents have through the Facebook groups and other social media channels, and for the fundraising activities that have been undertaken by you in the past to help the research get off to a good start. I'm also very grateful for the efforts of all our researchers and volunteers of the Chromosome 6 project. They have ensured that we, as parents of older children and especially new parents, can receive much more information than before. The ultimate goal of the Chromosome 6 project is known, and for many of us it is a dream that must be realized: the interactive Chromosome 6 prediction tool. It should no longer happen that parents go home without information after a Chromosome 6 diagnosis. We have been there, and many of you too. To achieve and safeguard this goal, 3 parents, Saskia, Kirsten and I, have founded the Chromosome 6 Foundation, which will finance Chromosome 6 research now and in the future, starting with our well-known ongoing Chromosome 6 project. We need your help with this. You can donate or undertake fundraising activities. Chromosome 6 children live all over the world. How wonderful will it be if there are representatives, ambassadors in every country worldwide to spread and promote our foundation, its activities and the goal of the research. Would you like to help us achieve our goals? Let us know. I hope to see you soon. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Hello everyone, I am Saskia Blonk and I want to introduce myself. I am the treasurer of the Chromosome 6 Foundation. My son Julian is 8 years old and has a Chromosome 6 deletion from 14.1 to 60.1. Julian has an older sister and we live in the Netherlands. When I was pregnant of Julian, the doctors discovered the deletion and they expected from us to make a decision about the pregnancy. But the deletion was so extremely rare, there was hardly any information about this. How could we make such an important decision when we knew nothing about the consequences for him? So Julian was born 8 years ago with a lot of struggles, but also with a lot of joy. And thanks to the Chromosome 6 Facebook group, we found a lot of information from other parents. I think the Chromosome 6 project in Groningen is very important for all the parents with a child with a Chromosome 6 disorder, and also for the involved doctors, because it felt very lonely to hear our son had such a rare disorder and no one could tell us what to expect. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Kirsten Geerts, mother of Mees. This is Mees. Mees is 6 years old and he has Chromosome 6 deletion 14.1 till 16.3. And because of this, he always has some medical issues, but nevertheless is very cheerful. Mees is the youngest of 4 children. We have 2 boys and 2 girls. And the oldest is now 14 years old. We live in the Netherlands, in the east, in a town called Bonnebroek. When Mees was 3 months old, he was still in the ICU of the University Medical Center of Groningen. And this was when we first came in contact with the Chromosome 6 research and Mees participated. It became clear to me that especially with chromosomal abnormalities, it's very important to collect medical data and share. because our chromosome 6 children simply do not follow medical guidelines. Chromosome 6 research can make medical awareness and help better for all chromosome 6 children. When the opportunity arose to make a difference, I naturally signed up. So now I'm the secretary of the Chromosome 6 Foundation, I should say. And hopefully we can make a difference and reach our common goal together. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
I want to thank Pauline, Kirsten, and Saskia for everything they're doing for the Chromosome 6 project. There were some questions in the chat. I already answered one. That was about if someone is going to query the database because they want to know information of the aberration of their child. Are you also going to ask them to add the information of that child? Yes, of course, we're going to ask that. We cannot make it obligatory. That's not possible. And then there's a question about if there has research been done yet on 6Q 21-22. Yes, we have done some studies on that. It's within the region Q16 to Q25. It's called the intermediate part of the long arm. There are some preliminary results on our website, but this region certainly needs further investigation. So now I think I've kept with the chats. So now I want to continue. I want to just summarize a little bit how you can get involved in the Chromosome 6 project. First of all, of course, you can participate. You can participate in the project if you have a child with a Chromosome 6 deletion duplication. Just go to our website. It's very easy, chromosome6.org, or send us an email at chromosome6@umcg.nl, and we will assist you in how to take part in the project. Secondly, you can advocate the project. For instance, by becoming a member of the International Chromosome 6 Foundation's Advisory Board and be an ambassador for the foundation in your own country within your own environment. Send an email to info@chromosome6foundation.org, and then Paulina and the others will help you what you need to do further. And thirdly, support us. You can support the project by crowdfunding, for which information can be found on the project's website. So if you go to chromosome6.org, there's a special page on crowdfunding and what you can do. Allow me to explain briefly to you why crowdfunding, now going to be organized by the new foundation, is so important to us. As I explained to you, the aim of the project is to have more information available for families. This is not groundbreaking research. We do not develop new therapies. We don't find new medication. We are not life-saving, and we are dealing with ultra-rare disorders. So it's very difficult to obtain funding for these kind of projects because it's not hot. It's not giving, it's giving important information to you, but not to other researchers. And the benefits of the project are clear. I already mentioned them. We can empower families. We can improve surveillance of the individuals. We can improve quality of life. But it's not considered research. On this slide, we summarized how the project was funded thus far. We started with the paper questionnaire, but we got funding in 2014. And we told you to develop a database and the online questionnaires in different languages. We soon realized that this money was not enough and started crowdfunding that was quite successful. You can see the numbers on the slide. Fortunately, in 2017, the UMCG granted a PhD student, Aafke, who phrased the research project as a study to explore the use of social media in case finding to study rare diseases. And that was interesting. So that's why we got the funding, because we made an interesting twist to it. This was a grant that ended 2 years ago already, and since then Aafke has been working on a voluntary base for the project. I already told you about my work for Chromosome 6 in 2019 that raised another €18,000. A second UMCG grant could be obtained in 2021 for Eliana, whose topic is the automatic phenotype prediction of Chromosome 6 disorders and the direct communication of this to parents. So we again phrased smart research questions that were interesting to the examination committee. They said, okay, well, you can get this fund. The grant of Eliana will expire by the end of this year, so then her funding stops. Unfortunately, the crowdfunding income declined drastically the last couple of years, partly because we were less active in advertising the project, because we were waiting for the International Chromosome 6 Foundation to be launched. We think it's better when parents themselves take the lead in crowdfunding. It's more transparent and saves us researchers a lot of time that we prefer to spend on the chromosome 6 research itself. On this slide, you see examples of parents raising money by, for instance, running and baking. A big thank you to all of them. The project would not have come this far without their help. All donation information can be found on our website or just scan the QR code that you see on this slide, and please share it within your social media networks. Thank you for doing that. So I will wait a while so you have time to scan it. Yes, okay. We have another question for you. What do you want to hear from us in future webinars? We give you some suggestions on this slide. So how to take part in Chrome 6 projects, or what's a microarray report and how do we read that? What do we know about? Fill out the aberration of your child if you want to. The use of social media to find families with a rare chromosome disorder. How do we do that? And why is it you can't do it without taking caution, because you have to respect privacy, for instance. So how do we do this? And what should we take keep in mind when doing this kind of approach? Data collected directly from families. How did we prove that it was usable for research? But of course, you can also come up with your own ideas, and please drop us an email, send us an email and with your preferences and suggestions. Just send it to chromosome6@umcg.nl. You can also type them in the chat. We will record them so we can read them. So, and with that, we almost reached the end of this first webinar. Well in time, because the set was going to take 1 hour. So we're well in time, 3 minutes left. So allow me to give a short wrap-up. We are a very dedicated group of researchers, and you parents are also very, very dedicated. Dedicated to a child, but also dedicated to the project. We are able to collect data from families worldwide. We have the largest chromosome 6 database ever. No one in the world is having such a huge database, and we could do that with the help of you. We have been able to publish some very useful papers that already proved to be helpful in care. And soon our dream will be realized. Detailed patient-specific information directly available to parents. Yes, together we can. Thank you very much for your help. With this last slide, I want to say goodbye to all of you on behalf of the whole team. For the parents who have been invited, I'm happy to meet you using the other team links within 5 minutes. And then the last slide, I will leave the last slide here for another minute or so in case you want to make a picture of it, which can be very helpful. And for the others, I say goodbye to ones who are leaving us, and till soon to the ones who go to the other link for a more private chat.